We have got some breaking news for you this morning from the Blackcaps camp, and that is that Devin Conway has broken his hand, and he did so last night in the match when he punched his bat after going out, it looks like.
I'm trying to put myself in his shoes and trying to feel the pain that he would be going through. We've seen his family in the stands as well watching, and they'll be very proud of what he's achieved so far, and you know, another little milestone in his career to hopefully get a World Cup final under his belt. But yeah, devastating news. It's something that you just do on the spur of the moment, and yeah, it's got devastating consequences this time around. Yeah,
it's one of those things where, you know, you see the emotion of the players, and he was angry with what he'd done. He'd made a mistake, and he's only human. But for now, the mistake to have caused this for him is just, I can't actually imagine how the team would be feeling for him as well, because, you know, they'd be just as gutted for him.
Oh, they'll be gutted for him. I think they'll be gutted, obviously, in the back of their mind for their chances in the final. I think it's a real dampener. Like, guys haven't had the opportunity to be able to get into the form that Devin's been in. He's been really instrumental in those middle overs. So it's a massive blow for us going into this final.
There's been a lot of chat about Mitchell Marsh, where he sits in the order. I mean, he did well to get a partnership going today, but Steve Smith, he's just missing a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm a huge fan of Mitch Marsh at 3, the way he comes out and just, you know, oozes confidence. He's a big man, stands tall, hits the ball hard, and, you know, really takes the game on. And Steve Smith, at the moment, just not sure what tempo he wants to bat at. It's not like him to come out 5th ball and play a slog sweep and get caught. So I think there's a lot of pressure on him going into that final.
Absolutely is. We're going to cross now to the UAE and catch up with former Blackcaps coach Mike Hesson. And you were coach in 2015 when Australia played New Zealand in that final. And here we go again. I'm feeling quite confident going into Monday morning's matchup. Hes, how about you?
Well, I'm pleased you are, Laura. Look, I am as well. I don't think I'll ever back against this Blackcap side. Certainly they've been able to win from all sorts of different conditions. And I actually think that the Dubai Stadium suits our bowling attack against and actually matches up pretty well against Australia. So, look, I'm confident. I think our challenge will be making sure that we get through the power play and we can actually attack the Australian quicks. And I think that your man, Marty Guptill, is going to have to play a pretty major role in that. So I'm looking forward to him enjoying the bounce that he'll get in Dubai. Obviously, pace is not an issue for him. And I think the fact that he actually matches up pretty well against Stark and Hazelwood and Cummins. So, yeah, he's going to have to take a bit of a load now that we've just heard that obviously Devin Conway's out.
Oh, here's the control room. I've just mentioned your haircut looks really good, and I should have said that earlier on. I apologise. But just the other thing we mentioned is Conway is also the keeper. So that means, obviously, that Tim Seifert will step into that role now, and that's a lot of responsibility on a young man's shoulders, but something that Seifert, you'd imagine, will be really up for.
Look, without doubt, and I think that New Zealand will be okay because Seifert had a whole season in the CPL batting in the middle order. I mean, up until that time, the majority of his game time had been at the top. So therefore, if he was going to have to slide into the middle, that would be a little bit unknown territory. But he's had enough time in that role. He's actually played the finishing role pretty well. Therefore, he can come in and do a straight swap. So, and that I think will suit New Zealand rather than having to try and change that batting order, which has been working so nicely for them.
Good day, Hes. It's Colin here. Just one question. Moving towards the final, we're obviously playing Australia. Who do you think could be one of, you know, sort of a thorn in our side in that Aussie team?
Look, I actually think Maxwell, if he's able to bat against our spinners, he hasn't had a great tournament, but I think we know how well he can play against spin. I think our new ball bowlers actually attack their new ball pretty well. I think Bolt swing it back into Finch's front pad like we saw today. I think Southey's basically gone both sides, the inside edge and outside edge of Finch and Warner before. So I think that matchup's pretty good. As you said, Smith's not on the best of form and you can kind of control him. Yeah, Mitch Marsh, I'm not sure, but I just think Maxwell's kind of that danger against our spinners. I think our spinners have got to play a role in terms of squeezing through the middle, and I think he's the one who could make that a little bit more challenging. So for me, he's the one. And with the new ball, I think Stark still. I mean, Stark, he's 2 games ago, I thought he was getting back to his best. So if the ball swings, he's always a challenge. And I think Australia missed a real trick today by not bowling in 2 overs up front when the ball was swinging, a chance to actually try and make some inroads into that Pakistan side. So for me, those two are genuine threats.
Yeah, too right. Here's a little bit left field. I thought maybe you might want to give some appreciation to Gaffney. He's been outstanding this tournament. I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing him umpire in the final, hopefully.
Well, I think you mentioned before, he's obviously still got his reflexes, which is good. I think there's a fair few umpires that probably might not have got out of the way there, but he does look fit. And he didn't miss a beat, did he? He stood up and just carried on signalling 4. But look, he's got some good decisions right. Obviously, the Dave Warner one looks like he didn't get it right. But Dave Warner's just wanted off. Obviously, thought he got a piece of bat on it. And there was a pretty good sound too. So, look, he's pretty good. He's obviously now not going to umpire the final. So, but I think he's done New Zealand pretty proud in that respect.
Mike Hesson, I want to thank you so much for all you've contributed to the Sky Sport T20 wrap-up shows, because we know that you're heading home, the long road to MIQ, and we look forward to having you back in New Zealand shores.
Thank you, Laura. I even wore a shirt for you tonight.
I saw that, not a Bangalore thing in sight. You look great. Thank you, Hess. Appreciate that. We're off to the big dance once again, Australia taking on New Zealand. And earlier we caught up with man of the moment. He was the match turner yesterday for New Zealand, Jimmy Neesham. Here's what he had to say about taking on Australia. Joining us now, Jimmy Neesham from the UAE, 1 for 18 off 2 yesterday and 27 crucial runs off 11 balls. He turned the match. He's joining us now, getting ready to take on Australia in the final. Jimmy Neesham, how do you feel about that?
Morning, guys. Yeah, obviously looking like Pakistan with the form team of the competition for a long time there. But as we all know, in tournament cricket, anything can happen. And the Aussie boys have got up and looking like they're playing some good cricket. So yeah, we've played a fair bit against them over the last couple of years. So know their team pretty well, and yeah, just excited to get going in a couple of days.
The New Zealand-Australia final, it's the stuff dreams are made of, Jimmy. But let's talk about you and your reaction to what you actually did yesterday. And there's been a lot of talk about how you were the moment, what you did, created the momentum to get us across the line along with Daryl Mitchell. Has it sunk in yet, what you've achieved? I know you've been tweeting, you've gone all Kobe Bryant on us, and you're not finished yet, which I'm here for, can I just say. Tell us how you're feeling today.
Yeah, today it was pretty low key. Obviously, the day after the games tends to the lads are a little bit low on energy after playing in the heat, and I think especially the end of our round robin competition with 3 day games in 5 days was quite sapping. So it's just about trying to retain as much energy as possible. Obviously, you're very pleased with the performance in the game last night. I think as a middle order batsman, number 6 or 7 batsman, it's where your bread and butter, I suppose, is coming at the end there and trying to finish off games of cricket. So to come out and do that for the lads is obviously really pleasing. And I think the boys are rolling really well as a unit. I think as a bowling unit especially, we've been really good, and just the batting's been clicking as well. So not taking anything for granted going into the game in a couple of days, but the boys feel in a good space.
Yeah, Jimmy, didn't you finish it well? That was outstanding. Just dig a little bit deeper into that. We've just been talking about Mitch Marsh. Munro says he hits bombs at training and that's all he tries to do. Is that what you do in your role? Do you just go in and try and hit sixes from ball one?
Well, I think as a number 6, it's about being as adaptable as you can be. I think, if you're an opening batsman, you're presented with the same conditions every time you go out to bat. You're none for none, whereas when you're down the middle order, there's a whole lot of different situations from, being 4 down in the first 10 overs versus coming out with 2 balls to go in the game. So it's about being as adaptable as possible, being prepared for all eventualities. And the way we've set up our team over here is with the guys at the top trying to lay as good a foundation as possible, which has meant that my role is more often just to come and have a slog. And I have been doing that in the nets. Luke Ronke has been very unhappy with me over the last couple of weeks because we're down a few white kookaburras, but hopefully it's all worth it when we get a couple of wins under the belt over these few days.
Good day, Jim. It's Colin here. I just want to say, obviously echo what these guys in the studio have said. Well played yesterday, but I want to take the highlight off your batting at the moment and talk about your bowling, because I think that's a real strength for us as a 6th bowler. You've really showed some, I think, maturity bowling some tough overs, and your consistency has just got better and better. What do you put that down to?
I think for me, it's just about getting as much volume as I can into my bowling. Obviously, with the way the world is at the moment, you can't really be coming in and out of New Zealand doing your 2 weeks without bowling over and over again. So for me, made a reasonably tough decision to leave New Zealand in March and sort of give myself as much of an opportunity to play as much cricket as I could around the world leading up to this tournament, because I know that my body doesn't handle taking big breaks from bowling very well. So it's just about trying to bowl as much as possible, trying to basically train as a frontline seamer, try and bowl as many overs as a Tim Southey or a Trent Bolt does, and try and work on my batting around that as well. So it's pretty challenging physically. Soon looking forward to hopefully having a couple of weeks off when I get back to New Zealand in December and giving that body time to recuperate for the home summer.
Jimmy, there's been a lot of talk about retribution, redemption. When you took on England in that semi-final, I mean, you were a key factor, key player in that 2019 final, which kept getting brought up throughout the match. You talked a lot about how you, if you were a kid, you would give up sport, I think actually was what you tweeted after 2019. How do you feel now? You've had a day to reflect on what you achieved last night and also sort of arc back to 2019. How's the headspace now? Do you feel just really proud of the way you and the team have moved forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for the viewers at home, it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, giving up cricket, but look, I think it's the nature of the game that we play. I think Munners and Mitchell will know from personal experience that, you experience the highest of highs, but you also experience the lowest of lows in different situations. And it can be incredibly challenging to take, I guess, when you're, handed potentially something you feel is a bit of a raw deal. But I think for us, the thing that our group has done really well is try and move on and try and take each game as it comes. And I think we've seen through our record and tournament play over the last 5 or 6 years that we tend to be able to put those disappointing games behind us quite well. So, while I don't go out on the field thinking, I want revenge or I want, retribution for 2019, it certainly can be a powerful motivator, when you're training away from the bright lights. And sometimes you feel like not getting up and going for a run. You sort of think back to how it feels when you walk off the field in those situations, and it certainly motivates you to get out of bed.
Jimmy Neesham, I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the entertainment, particularly last night. We cannot wait for this final. New Zealand versus Australia. You guys, 1 win away. We can't wait to watch you. Congratulations.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
How do you feel about Tim Seifert stepping in? Obviously, we'll have to be the keeper, take on the keeper role now. We've lost Devin Conway. That's a lot of pressure for Tim Seifert coming into a World Cup final. Yeah,
it is, and I think he'll take it. As I've been in contact with him, he's itching to get back playing some cricket. Obviously, it's not nice sitting on the sideline, so he'll take this opportunity. But I was just asking Mitchie there, where with Seifert coming in, where is he best suited? Because we've obviously seen him play his best for New Zealand at the top of the order. They're not going to change that, you wouldn't think. And would he just come in as a straight swap and bat at 4, or would Glenn Phillips go up to 4 and then got to keep our man Jimmy Neesham at 6? You don't change a winning formula, and then you can keep maybe Seifert at 5. I'm not sure how they're going to go about it, but yeah, Timmy will be chomping at the bit to get out there.
Yeah, I think I'll go against what Hess said. Instead of rather than just a straight swap into 4, I think you probably want him to go down and protect them a little bit more. Give Glenn Phillips, who's been playing the whole tournament and looking pretty decent, an opportunity to score a match-winning innings and get him as many balls as he can, because he has been playing, and like you say, leave Jimmy at 6.
Well, it is finals time. It's New Zealand versus Australia. It's happening in Dubai, Monday the 15th of November, 2:30 a.m. First ball, 3 a.m. There will be some tired Kiwis on that Monday, but it will be worth it to watch our Blackcaps in action. I am so excited. Just quickly, in one word, New Zealand or Australia?
New Zealand.
New Zealand or Australia?
Is that even a question?
Okay, that's all you needed to know. We're going to be joining you straight after the matchup on Monday as well to take you through the game. I want to thank you guys so much for your time today. New Zealand, Australia, you don't want to miss it. All live and exclusive on Sky Sport. Join us on Monday morning. We'll see you then.